Alright, we are back with another rendition of the weirdest discs in disc golf, brought to you by you. The first video about weird discs did amazing, thanks for all the support and for all the comments. So I went through all the comments and a lot of them were very useful. There were so many weird discs mentioned that by the time I had collected them all, I had enough for another video. Most of these discs I hadn't even heard of, and for the ones I did recognize, the further research I did made me realize how strange the designs really were. We are going to be using the same requirements as for the last video, so to be on my list, you have to be PDGA approved at one time or another. We saw in the last video that the turbo putt was approved for a short while, then taken off the list. Same thing goes for these discs, all of them are on the PDGA approval list at some point or another. Now for the last video, I got a lot of comments for Quest AT, since the turbo putt was the weirdest on my list, and most of those comments called for the wheel by Quest. Well, the wheel was not PDGA approved that I can find. Some say that it said it on the disc, but I can't find any information on it being removed from the PDGA approval list like I can for the turbo putt. So with that being said, the wheel does not qualify. If you commented on the last video, then you might just be in this one, so make sure to look out for your name. We've got some strange technology, some funny designs, and the last one on my list being called for by so many of you. Alright, let's get into it. The weirdest discs in disc golf, part 2. We start out with a very lighthearted disc. I mean, how can you not love this disc? First off, cool design, it's very fun looking. I mean, we get a lot of stamp designs that are epic and aggressive. This one is relaxing. But that's just the look of the disc. The practicality of it is completely different. Lat64 designed this disc as a multi-purpose disc. Now it's PDGA approved, so you can play disc golf with it. It's designed almost as a catch frisbee, so you can use it to warm up or just hanging out with friends. And then finally, it's designed as a dog toy. Now for those of you who like to disc golf with your dog, now your dog can play with you. The puncture resistant material on the bite allows you to not have to worry about the damage your dog might do to the disc. Instead, you can go play disc golf with your dogs and have a disc completely for them. It's pretty funny. I could not figure out how to say this disc, so I turned to my Google pronunciation tool to help.
Baobob. Baobob. Baobob.
Baobab. Also learned that those are the trees in Madagascar. Don't say I didn't teach you guys anything. Above Ground Level Discs is a disc golf company that makes all of their discs from recycled plastic. Pretty neat. Well, they have one interesting design I want to check out, and it's the Baobob. It's an overstable putt and approach disc that features a very unique design. It has a top bead. Now we saw in the last rendition of Weird Discs that the Prodigy M5 had almost an inverted bead. Well, this one has one on the top. Mixed with the flat top of the disc, it makes for a strange look to the disc. Imagine you could set it down and with the top bead, you could gather rainwater. Kind of like a tree collects rainwater. A baobab tree. Now a lot of you guys commented about dimple technology. This segment is dedicated to that. In ball golf, golf balls have dimples on the outside cover of the golf ball. This helps reduce drag and makes it fly further and straighter. Now a few companies have tried using this technology in disc golf. We're going to look at those discs right now. First up, we have the Dimple from Destiny/Dynamic Discs. This is a different company from what we now know as Dynamic Discs. They have zero connection. This Destiny/Dynamic was done operating before the creation of Dynamic Discs, but one Destiny disc is pretty weird, the Dimple, and it has great story to it as well. First off, Dimple just like a golf ball on top, pretty simple. The PDGA approval board has changed its standards over the years. They approved the Dimple at first, but when a maximum stiffness regulation came out, the Dimple was removed. Destiny Discs chose not to make the disc in a more flexible blend. Bye bye Dimple. Lat64 had two discs with flight numbers that recorded speeds of 15, the Michelin and the Rakuten. Just like with the Dimple, Lat64 had their own similar technology, Hex technology. Indentations on top of the disc in Hex patterns would help with the flight of the disc. Latitude has since retired these discs, but the technology is still very strange compared to the usual discs that they produce. And we got another one. Y'all love Quest AT so much, well here you go, here's another weird disc from them. This time it's the T-Bone. Nothing unusual about the design from the top, but for the underside of the rim we get the same technology the last few discs had, dimples. Instead of putting them on the top and helping with the flight that way, Quest AT chose to put them on the underside of the rim. It's weird, it's unique. For Quest it's pretty regular though. They got plenty of other discs that are weird. This is one of the oldest discs we're going to look at today, and it's basically a frisbee that is PDGA approved. Now if we look at the Wham-O Max Flight as a frisbee, nothing crazy going on, it's a pretty sweet looking disc, but when it's considered a disc golf disc, it's really weird. It has holes in it at the top of the disc. Can't say I've seen another PDGA approved disc that has that. We've already taken a look at the Bite, which is pretty much a catch frisbee. This one actually is, but since it comes under the jurisdiction of the PGA approval list, it makes my list for one of the weirdest discs out there. Oh, and it's a glow disc too, so that's cool. We go from old to new. Approved on June 27th of 2022, the Doomsday Disc Landmine is amazing. I mean, it's got the best name, and Doomsday Disc sounds way too epic to be a disc golf company. Anyways, I'm not totally sure how to describe the Landmine. The best way to describe it is it kind of looks like a hockey puck. I don't know, it's so weird looking. Its side profile is a blunt edge. It doesn't look terrible, it just looks really boxy. It's basically a lid. Now that term gets thrown around a lot when it comes to some weird looking disc, but for this one, yeah, it fits it. Epic name, epic company, certainly a weird looking disc though. Ah yes, the defending champs when it comes to weird. Now we're going to take a deeper dive into two of their more strange disc designs. We already saw their Dimple technology, now we're going to look at two discs that fit into a much weirder crowd. First is the Quest AT 10-meter brick. Well, we got another lid for you guys, except this one has a bit different of a design. From underneath we get that flat lid look, but from the top we get a whole different story. In the middle of the top of the disc is a raised circle. Right where the stamp would be, this makes it look like a dent in the middle of the disc. 10-meter brick designed to hit the chains and stop. As the name would entail, it's not going to fly very far, so unless you're inside the circle, this disc has no use. The next Quest AT disc we're going to look at is the Wildfire. This disc has a bubble in it or on it, depends on how you're looking at it. From underneath, it has this nice smooth rim that goes flat, then in the middle ends with a massive crater in it. From the top of the disc, it's just a massive raised bubble. As the move groove would suggest, it looks like a spaceship. It's a pretty good description. The Wildfire looks like the 10-meter brick bubble just on steroids. I mean, with the combination of the turbo putt, the 10-meter brick, and now this, I think Quest AT might have earned the honor of being the weirdest disc manufacturer. Before we get to our final disc, we're going to take one look at a disc golf brand maybe some of you have never heard of. Ching Discs is a very unique disc golf company that has one feature that really makes them stand out. You guys remember the Lat64 Cenus from my last video? It's a disc that has 3 different textures on top of the disc. Different textures for your thumb to hold on to. Well, Ching Discs took that to a whole other level. They put notches on top of your disc for your thumb to slot into. The Juju, Velocity, Precision, all of these discs have varying notches in them. Some are different, so maybe it affects the flight, but they look so weird. I don't know, maybe it's comfortable, maybe it really helps, but it sure does look strange. They took one design difference with one of their discs and chose to run with it, pretty much all of them in varying designs. It's the same concept for most of them, just slightly differing with the discs. Really weird looks. This was by far the most requested disc from my last video. Everyone seemed to be going nuts that I forgot to mention the Innova Monarch. I hadn't even heard of the Innova Monarch until you guys commented about it. In my last video I talked about the Innova Groove, a disc designed to be molded into lighter weights for beginner disc golfers. It's a 13 speed. Now let's look at his little brother, the Monarch, a disc designed to be molded into lighter weights for beginner disc golfers. It's a 10 speed. And it has the same characteristics as a Groove does. The bottom rim of the disc comes down just like the rim of the Groove, so it's a 10 speed Groove. Basically a weird little brother. Are you guys happy now? Thanks for watching the video, guys. As always, much appreciated. Now I didn't fit in every single one of your guys' suggestions, but I tried my best. Make sure to comment down below any other weird discs that are out there. You guys better not comment about the Innova Monarch, I swear. Alright, we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.